What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Verbal Garbage coming at you hot and live. Super excited to be on the channel this week. Recap some little stories, some little events, some current events, just like we've been doing recently. We're really catching our stride here on the Verbal Garbage Show. But what do we want to get to first? There's quite a bit. I guess we'll just talk. Let's just recap the weekend real quick, okay? So we had my niece and nephew, Ava and Bobby, come down to the lovely state of Florida to spend a few days, get away from, that Jersey vibe, and just experience the coastal Florida winds and whatnot. So originally it was pretty funny. We used this weekend as we were calling it boot camp, where the whole premise and the idea was birthed by just talking to my sister and just like realizing, when I was my niece and nephew's age, juniors slash seniors and going into senior year of high school, you don't really have much value as far as like what you can offer, when you're cooking or cleaning or just basic little things, right? So when I had noticed this, I told my sister, I was like, hey, why don't you send them down? I'll just show them a couple, how to make a sandwich, clean a toilet, do a little laundry. Basic, basic, basic. So we plan it, we book it, and then we're dropped a little bomb, that not only is my nephew Bobby coming, but we got little old Ava coming into town too. So my niece, who they're very close in age, I think they're actually the same grade. So not really anything I ever had growing up was a cousin close in age who I was cool with. Growing up, my family pretty notorious for, I don't know what the phrase is, but me, my brother, my sister were super tight, and then just the cousin relationship was just not much to be spoken of. I'll say cousin Pete, my all-time favorite, just one that always had a good relationship with to this day. We don't really talk as much, but he's got a beautiful family that he's raising and taking care of. So do your own thing. But anyways, so I'm responsible for two little humans that I gotta try to mold and turn into soldiers in a few days' time. Well, long story short, boot camp was a colossal failure. We're trying to do things here and there. It's just not going out. And then you're posed with the situation where it's like, do I want to nag them and force them to do something my way so I'm happy, or do I just like want them to have fun and enjoy the vacation and not learn to resent their uncle? Pretty safe to say that I settled on the latter there and did not really want to enforce as much as I did. However, this did not stop me from, taking the kids out to the driving range, paying for that, taking them out to, did I take them out to dinner? No, we went to hibachi dinner, but I Venmo our portion, whatever. Every day, we're using the smoker, we're using whatever to make fantastic meals and make sure these kids are always fed and tried to entertain them, played a bunch of N64. But as far as turning our young civilians into soldiers, didn't quite go as planned. So to the parents out there, aka my sisters and brother-in-law, I'm sorry I failed you. What would you have done? It's kind of like these things where you, like you said, you want to enforce, you got, and this is why, shout out to the parents out there. You always got to have that, obviously you can have the mom and the dad play the good cop, bad cop type of deal, but overall, you both kind of want to have like a little bit of an iron fist as far as like not being able to get away with things. And it goes a long way. I remember growing up, my parents, like my dad put the fear of God in my brother and I. We were terrified of him. And, he didn't abuse us by any means, but he made it very well known that if you want to talk out of pocket to me or your mother or put your hands on your sister, then Mr. Leather's going to speak, and Mr. Leather was like a distant relative, he was almost like a cousin, I knew him well, but we didn't have much of a relationship as far as talking. The Mr. Leather was, what my dad would use to hold up his pants, if you catch my drift. And then if something would go awry, just let it be known that this thing can come off quickly, and she can strike. So many a times we got hit with the belt, we got hit with the backhand, we got hit with the wooden spoon. We got our mouths rinsed out, and I rinse out with soap and Tabasco, mainly me, the middle child treatment. But I'm not saying this to my niece and nephew, obviously, but just to other kids these days, you see the lack of respect for the elders and just common human decency is gone. And I wonder, do we need to start beating the kids again? And obviously I say that as a joke. Like, I feel disappointed and a little fear in your parents is kind of a good thing because it just instills from you an early age. They're my elder. I respect them. So elderly respect just kind of comes hand in hand. Uh, Never been an issue, even remotely for me. I don't know. It's just a wild time to reflect on things. So I guess that's a pretty nice segue into respect and being taught how to communicate with elders and listening to people and eye contact and being respectful. Well, I sure hope this next story doesn't make some of my listeners and friends and cohorts lose some respect for me, but just hear me out here, okay? So my nephew and I decided we're gonna go out for a nice little hole of golf, a nice little round of golf, I should say. And I've been hyping up the Florida golf. I just want to take him out there and show him a good time, have some fun. Wasn't able to bring his clubs, so we use mine as the community clubs. The day before we go to the driving range and make sure they work for him. Fine, he's hitting the ball good, everything. So we go out, first hole, second hole, third hole. We're doing good. Everything's fun. We're vibing, and let's walk over to the fourth hole. I said. Um, Now, full disclosure, I probably shouldn't release this, and you'll find out why later in the episode. But what are you gonna do? You know, as we're talking this out, I'm just realizing a few things here. First name, company, are kind of out there for this lady, but so the whole episode's based off the story, so we're not turning back now. Or do we? Oh, we're having a real long effort here because on one hand, I'm telling myself there's no proof. On the other hand, I'm providing the proof. Long story short, playing a golf course. My drive has been kind of a disaster these last few days. Don't really get the result I want. She starts going left and she hit the tree. And from the tree, she ricochets and supposedly hits a window and crashes it. I didn't hear the window crack. I didn't see the window break. So I don't know. Nephew steps up, takes his tee shot. We go up, try to find my ball, and there's two people right on the scene. Older people, kind of waving their arms, flailing, a bit panicked, I would say, and doesn't look good for my prospects. Walk on over, wave to them. Maybe like this is the part where I realized I should have just drove to the next hole and fucking forgot about it. But no, I didn't want to lose my golf ball, of course. So old lady comes over and from the rip, I'll admit, like super aggressive, super confrontational, like literally looking for a problem, looking to escalate the situation. I'm telling you, like yelling over me, do you know what you've done? You broke like I'm just saying, hello, good morning. And she starts like yelling down my throat. And after a few minutes of this, like she can see I'm very calm and level headed. Like I'm trying to de-escalate the situation, find a solution. I'm not trying to like rile up someone and make it worse than it already, you know what I mean? Like you think I wanted to start my day coming out and hitting a tree with a golf, like no, I want my shit straight down the pipe, birdie opportunity. But um so long story short, her husband's providing some real beta male energy. He's sitting in the background, hands in pockets while his wife's doing all the talking, trying to chew me out and make me feel like shit. After she says her piece, she's got quite a bit to say. Old boy comes over and just says, "You ever think about taking up golf?" And in the moment, I thought it was like small talk, and then afterwards, I realized like, oh, this guy's just telling me I suck at golf and I need to stop playing. Like, this is why you don't you don't understand, bro. This game is all about going out and hitting bad shots and then rebounding, not getting two in your head, and then hitting a good one next. And it's why people play it, is because it's not just easy. You don't just go out and hit a hole in one every time. You really gotta focus on little things. You can't think about anything during your back. I mean, it's all inclusive. So it's getting real nasty with me. Starts, spouting off. As she can see the road I'm taking, the high road, she starts changing her tone a little bit, starts trying to make small talk and ask me where I work, ask me my name, both true. And then she gets like kind of weird again. She's like, well, usually when this kind of thing happens, people offer to pay for it or at least help out. And I'm just like, what? Like, I get it. I made a mistake, but you do live on a golf course, and just these kind of things, you assume some of these risks when you live on a golf course. That's like, I mean, there's so many parallels to this, but I don't even know where to begin. So, um, I still to this day, like, I maintain I didn't break it. I hit the ball, hit the tree, and it went somewhere else. And then she's fluffing up a story about how I broke the window. Didn't happen. Would have heard it audibly. So anyways, as she's doing this whole character villain change thing where she's nice on one hand and rude and then like nasty and confrontational and then nice. She tries to get my phone number. Long story short, gave her a fake phone number. Anyways, I hope you guys don't lose respect for me there. Have talked about, kind of going back and forth with a young flame from the internet dating sphere, and the last time we went back and forth. Now, credit or not credit, full disclosure, I'm a pretty quick texter backer, Um, not getting much of that from said young lady, so I don't know if to take it with a grain of salt or what, but did mention how I kind of fluffed the digits in my phone number, and that was that. So for you listeners that are going to stop listening to the podcast due to these latest discretions from your glorified host here, then I understand it, but pretty good story. Not exactly how you want to play, but went to another course Sunday morning and really got my revenge. I was just playing front hole. Front nine was 2v2 best ball. Losers paid for the green fees plus a $20 wager. So I won that. Me and my boy won that one. And then back nine, we played a little solo action, 1v1v1, because one guy from one of the twosomes had to roll out for work. Poor bastard working on a Sunday. So we did a little 1v1v1 on the back nine, gentlemen's honors. And wouldn't you know it, guys? I won. Um, let's just like back to back holes. I got a 9 and a 7, so I had a 16. But the rest of the holes before that and after that, I was getting pars and birdies, or not pars and birdies, pars and bogeys. 18th hole, we're all tied going into that hole. Like, me and my boy hit a pretty equivalent drive as far as distance. He's not super comfortable with his 5 wood off the fairway. I've been slicing that a little bit more recently, and by slicing it, I mean just hitting it well. Um, Nailed it. Hit about 185-yard 5 wood shot right to the edge of the green. I was able to get that in on 2, so I ended up getting I think I got a 4 on a par 4 at the end to win it. So it was pretty magical, pretty amazing way to start my Sunday, real early morning, sneaking out for the last day of the 2 boot camp attendees. So yeah. Another thing I wanted to get to real quick for the sports fans out there, it's kind of unrelated, but watching Hard Knocks last week, I couldn't help but notice, for those of you who don't know, Hard Knocks is a HBO, like a reality type of show where they put you inside of an NFL training camp and preseason and just kind of show you the ins and outs. I just couldn't help but notice, last year, Mr. Enemy of the people, Aaron Rodgers, and all this stuff, how he was the bad guy, the villain, all this stuff. And, it's funny what time can do, because now he's on like the most popular show when it comes to football is Hard Knocks. Everyone knows what that is. And he's like the poster boy. They're giving him all the airtime. It's a love Aaron Rodgers fest. And I just think that the narrative shift, very interesting how quickly these things can happen. You go from being painted as the bad guy, a mere 8, 10, 12 months ago. And now I'm not going to call him like America's darling, but you can tell the NFL is pushing the shit out of the Jets. No, yeah, that it definitely has a little bit to do with the market they play in, but you can't tell me that Aaron Rodgers hasn't played a gigantic shift or a gigantic role in this narrative shift. It's really kind of kind of left me speechless. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird and interesting. I'm looking forward to watching. If you don't watch it, and you have access to HBO. Definitely check it out. For non-football fans, you can kind of get into just the casual element of the football side of it, trying to fight for roster spots, and so I will stick with sports for a quick second here. Just watched the Balco documentary last night. That whole Victor Conte steroid ring where he was creating like the untraceable steroids and providing them to certain athletes. And then he snitched on all of them. He's a real shady piece of shit. Documentary's definitely done, I'm not gonna say by him, but definitely in accordance with him. So he was able to get more of his side out there as opposed to the unbiased truth. So we won't really know, but whatever. Um, UFC happened over the weekend, taking place from Boston, Massachusetts. Prelims were insane. Finishes, amazing back and forth. The Ultimate Fighter finales, both of those were great fights. Just a lot of good shit. Gets to the main card 10 o'clock. You boot it up and you're excited for all the high profile fights and the big names, and got off to a little bit of a rocky start there for the first three-ish fights, and even the co-main event title fight between women's strawweights Amanda Lemos and reigning champion Wang or Weili Zhang Weili or Weili Zhang. Don't really know how to say her name, but good little back and forth, but still the decisions were just everything was going to decision. Main event, you're kind of worried it's going to be one of those, and my lord, was this a shocking turn of events in that main event. I don't know if anyone. I mean, obviously, there's O'Malley fans out there that would say, "Oh, he's going to catch him with the right hand." But if you're a real MMA fan and you watch this stuff, the path to victory for O'Malley was just a little hard to picture, and got him clean with that little half-cocked right hand. That truly speechless. Still, a couple days later, it was. You watch these fights and you just see it happen live, and it's a cool thing to live through, and that was awesome. So overall, I thought it was a great card, but Sugar Sean O'Malley stole the show. Kind of good for not kind of huge for the UFC because you just had a fan, and for the purists out there, Aljamain's the better fighter and the better champion, but for the UFC, for the fan base, you just got the younger generation guy who came off Dana White's Contender Series, is boys with the Nelk boys and the Full Send crew, whatever they all do. So huge with the younger generation. So it's gonna expand the audience for sure. What else do we want to do? Well, I can just talk. Work's been a little tricky lately, but coming off the real high today, selling quite a bit despite the lack of product for now, and we're about to get a major product infusion in these next few weeks and months to come. So, real team effort to get this train back on track here, and committed to do my part to make it work. And man, like I said, after I went to that tool show in Nashville, I'm fully colted up with this company now. I'm a part of it. I've been seeing this thing out through the hard times, and I want to be there during the glory days as they once were. So pretty positive, pretty excited for the future of that right now. Just selling's been a little bit of a lost art for me in the last few weeks. It's been more of a collecting, problem solving, warranting out, and been crushing it. My coworker and I still going out every day, showing our faces despite not having what we need for the customers, and they're very upset about it, but they're also, I think, starting to see every week I'm still showing up despite that, and I think I've won a lot of them over. So, cheers to that. Cheers to new beginnings, and let's get it rolling again. I just had one funny thing. I had a customer of mine last week who been back and forth. He got transferred into me. He's got a credit account that he's been trying to pay on. I was away one weekend when he wanted to pay on it, so I didn't have my credit card machine. Henceforth, I couldn't run a payment. Comes on the truck last week trying to run his mouth a little bit about X, Y, and Z and not having this and that. And then it comes down to like, he brings up paying and well, the last time I tried to pay you, you didn't answer me for 3 days. And I told him before that weekend going in, literally the day before, that, hey, I'm going to be away in Nashville. If you're going to try to do a payment, I don't have your card on file, so I won't be able to run it. I just got to wait till I get back. But then to text me the next day trying to do a fucking payment and then to try to hold that over me when literally the day before we just went over this, why am I going to open my phone and read a message when I have so many others to get to over something that was literally discussed 24 hours prior? I rest my case. So ended up, talking about taking his card on just a few days ago and getting it on file and everything like that. And he's like, well, you're not gonna like use this card for anything, are you? Now keep in mind, guys, a minute before this, I asked if I could run $1 because if we have a credit card machine and when we swipe them, we have the ability to save them on file. So let's say he's not at work one day, I can call him, like, yo man, can I run the 50 bucks? You're not here. Yeah, no problem. I go and hit save cards. It comes from there. You have to run something on the card to save it. So like, this isn't payday for him. So I'm like, so can I run $1 on here to save it on file? Well, that means you're gonna run my card for half of what it's got. And I was like, what? Yeah, dude. If you run $1, I'm only gonna have $1. I was like, oh, I didn't mishear this. This is a real thing. Pretty much the people, not everyone, but a good portion of them are very similar to this, where middle of the week you don't have any money. Yeah, I mean we've talked about it. I live at my parents' house, so I'm a little privileged, I guess, in that sense. But like, I could never imagine like you don't make any kind of adjustments over time when you start seeing, okay, this is how much I make a week, this is how much I spend. Maybe if I spend a little less, then I'll have more each week, and then I can kind of carry up. I rest my case. So, old boy goes on about telling me, well, you're not gonna like go on Amazon with this card, are you? I'm like, oh, the card with $2? Could you let me know what I'm gonna buy with $2 on Amazon? And I just fucking light this kid up. I pretty much go on about how like, oh no, I make plenty of money, and if I want to go on Amazon, I have a rewards card that has like $500 in reward points right now that I can use, to purchase what I want, or I can put it onto my credit card bill that I pay daily. So I think I'm good on your card, buddy. Can I? So I end up writing the card number down in my system to run it for the next week because couldn't run $1. So not like I'm not laughing at the fact that I couldn't run $1. I'm laughing at the fact that you're like wondering if I'm going to use your card. No, I'm not. We're good. Just funny. We as a family went out to Hibachi one of these nights. Kumo last Thursday night, I think it was, or maybe Friday night. Never been there before. Did the whole hibachi experience. It was me, my niece, my nephew, my brother, his fiance, and my two parents, obviously. And we get the hibachi chef. He's coming out. He's doing his whole song. Just doing his thing. He's singing. We've never had hibachi chefs actually like singing so much, so it was kind of cool. But then like, me and my brother are 31 and 30 respectively, and I don't know if we're ever gonna fully like. Well, I'll speak for me. Fully like mature, quote unquote. You see hibachi chefs going and doing the whole like tossing the shrimp, and letting people catch his mouth. Um, let's call it about 3/4 through the hibachi dinner, and there has yet to be a single piece of shrimp flying through the air into one of our mouths. So it just gets to the point where I'm just like shrimp, 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 and me and my brother just start chanting shrimp like every couple minutes to this guy who's just like. I don't think he found it super funny after like the third time because it's just like, all right, shut the fuck up. So it ends up, getting to the point where dicing the shrimp up, tossing the shrimp, we're chanting shrimp, we get the shrimp, and then we're just chanting other things. And we're just brought me back to like my middle school days where I would just start randomly chanting stuff and get the whole lunchroom. Haven't matured much since then. So but anyways, the guy finished up with us and then goes to another table and he's like doing his intro song. And my brother was like, hey, hey, that's our thing. Thought it was just fucking hilarious. Like he was singing to us, we were vibing, and then he goes to another table and does the same thing. So I was like, Man, this guy's like the Eagles having to go out and sing "Take It to the Limit" every night, when they don't want to sing it, or "Take It Easy," whatever, like the big hits that they don't want to sing, but you got to do them. AC/DC, 50 years later doing "You Shook Me All Night Long." Like maybe they don't want to do it, but they kind of have to play to the hits. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. This poor guy. Like I'm wondering if he ever switches up his set list or if he's just doing like I like big butts and I cannot lie, because that was a steady stream of what our boy was dealing with there. So you just kind of have to wonder out loud, like, is this what he's cool with? Is this every night? I mean, five, six, seven tables a night, you're singing the same tunes. It's got to get a little rough, I'd imagine. Okay, moving on to the last section of the pod for the day, current events, because we've really settled into our own with these, haven't we, guys? Couple tidbits from Twitter, a couple tidbits from TMZ, from Instagram, and depending on your algorithm, they're all going to be different. And luckily for you guys, your boy's algorithm is fucked up. So, from puberty, a Florida woman suspected of murder attempted to scrub off her forensic evidence using Mountain Dew. Let that sink in for a minute. The 35-year-old woman, I wonder if she was on Bumble, Nicole A. Max, was charged with tampering with evidence, resisting arrest with violence, and premeditated first-degree murder. Probably more of a Tinder girl, if I had to guess. I don't think she's quite Bumble material. Let's be honest. She's got a snowman. Okay. Forgot we're not sharing the screen. My apologies. You guys deserve to see this gremlin just as much as I do. So, Nicole, would you like to introduce yourself to my listeners? Here she is, guys. We've got some kind of tattoo spelling out something sweet. I can't tell what it is, but it looks to be a snowman right there. So shout out to you. Okay, so back to the story. 35-year-old woman, Nicole A. Max was charged with tampering, blah, blah, blah. While being questioned by police, Max demanded a lawyer and a Diet Mountain Dew. She began to procrastinate with the drink and began to pour the can of soda all over her body and hair. Pretty educated young lady, if you ask me. I mean, would you have think Mountain Dew was going to scrub away the evidence? I wouldn't. Do we know that it scrubs away the evidence? Sure don't. 35-year-old is being held in Volusia County Jail without bond and is scheduled for a court appearance on September 5th. So, did it work? Do you get scrubbed of evidence the minute you pour Diet Mountain Dew on yourself? Shout out to Billy Snow, a former podcast guest, one of the early episodes on the maiden voyage. Big Mountain Dew drinker. So perhaps we could call into him for some Mountain Dew correspondence expertise. And the more we've been, yeah, Bill, we're gonna have to dial in and refer back to you, brother, because this is between trying to figure out how to improve my slice and minimize the slice, I should say, and a few other golf pointers plus some Mountain Dew insight. I think we could really have a decent conversation. So let's get that rolling, Billy. You know where to find me, and Billy the Snowman. You see what I just look at it, Bill. We got a snowman, Billy the Snowman, Mountain Dew, golf. I mean, everything is full circle. And I don't know about you, but I think this calls for another podcast guest appearance. So let's hope your fiance is on another trip where we can snag you for 45 minutes. But moving on. Let's just see what more social current events we got. So, Nicole, thank you for your service and thank you for giving me a little story to cover there. We appreciate you. Not much in the way of current events this week, guys, and I'm not upset about it, to be honest. I feel like this was another short and sweet one, and until we get the studio figured out and we get the guests churning, just gonna do some sweet episodes. But the main thing is consistency right now, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting them out there. So the GOAT effect. As you may have heard, Irina Shayk and Tom Brady are kind of a rumored flame right now, if you will. So this is big time, guys. Irina really might have found her white whale. So this little story here we got. The GOAT effect. Supermodel Irina Shayk is ending all her friendships to devote herself to being the best Tom Brady girlfriend she can be, per the New York Post. And we know the New York Post doesn't publish any lies, so this is good. A source tells Page Six that the Russian model has, in quote, narrowed her inner circle to prevent leaks. Leaks. What does that mean? Leaks about what? Like her previous leaks or like her and Brady's weird. She's afraid any weird rumors might scare him off, in quotes. She really wants this to work, in quotes. Brady is her white whale. He's an all-American nice guy. So, Tom Brady's rich. Yeah. Greatest quarterback of all time. Yeah. Super Bowl champion. Yeah. Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. Uh, already dated and married and had kids with the model. Yeah. What am I missing here? We've got a supermodel who is just, I don't know the words that describe her appearance. I mean, beautiful and stunning wouldn't really do it justice, and she's probably got so much money. Like I'm an all-American nice guy. Like I could be your white. I don't understand this. What exactly does like? He doesn't have the status of being, the greatest of all time because he's not playing the sport right now. Looks like he's just like taking his daughters to concerts and like co-parenting. Listen, I'm not hating on Tom Brady, best quarterback ever. I'm trying to understand why this beautiful young lady is cutting out all her friends and narrowing her circle to pretty much have it be Tom as her only friend. What happens when Tom finds another hot supermodel? You gonna just like ask for your friends back? It's a strange turn here, and this you guys are dating advice from the single loser. Alert! 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 If you're gonna be in a relationship, I think it's probably pretty healthy and important to separate friend groups, some separate activities. Do stuff together. But if things are, I don't know. I just find like me personally, I don't have any woman to speak of, but I have a job, so that's a corollary enough, right? I go to work. Work is cool. Do I want to do everything work related when I get home? Sure don't. I'll go to jujitsu. I'll go to golf. I'll go on a Peloton ride. I'll take my bike for a ride. I'll cook a nice elaborate meal. Smoked a tremendous meatloaf for the weekend. I don't know. Just have hobbies and mix it up. Irina's putting all her eggs in one basket here, and I don't see this, despite him being her all American white whale, I don't see this really having the greatest ending, and I don't see the need for so early on in a relationship to be cutting out all your friends. So if you're listening out there and you're one of Irina's friends, maybe you're looking for an all American nice guy. I'm telling you, I'm nice as shit. Um, I'm not a Super Bowl champion and a Super Bowl MVP and a multi-billionaire or millionaire, whatever he is. But guys, that's not everything, is it? So just want to thank you guys for listening to another episode of VG Verbal Garbage coming at you hot and live. The airwaves have been stinking up recently. We're churning them out there. I'm tired of making the promises about the guest episodes. If you don't think I don't want them, you're crazy. Like I want them more than anything, but we're trying to figure out how to set up something here and make it all copacetic and work out. So keep listening, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Let the people know. Love you guys. Peace.